What is up, geeks and gamers? It's your boy Q
and QMG.
Bring you guys into the QUNIVERSE, where we talk to you guys about everything geeky, gamey, and nerdy. And you already know how we do. We got a great episode for y'all. We're gonna be talking about some Spider-Man trailer. We're gonna be talking about some Shang Chi, and we're gonna be talking about some games cons, because there was a lot of games that people weren't even expecting, and a lot of sleeper hits that came out. But we got a great episode. Y'all already know how we do. QMG, how you doing? You doing all right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we finna turn up. Let it rock. Let's go. Got a great show. We finna turn it on up. Like I said, this is Into the QUNIVERSE. What is up? Come on, I'm gonna let that jump ride while you QMG. What's going on? Because I know y'all had a couple things going on in multiversity, and I definitely want you to talk on that, because y'all been doing some big things, and I don't think we talk about our other brands that much. So what did y'all have on multiversity this week while we let that music just vibe for a minute? What we had going on, man?
Well, first things first, I'm glad to be back on.
Facts, big facts.
Secondly, we just talked about not giving your cookie away to these companies who don't be doing what they need to earn your cookies. You know what I'm talking about? You don't want to, like I said this past Wednesday, you don't want to end up sitting on the bed wondering why you gave your cookie away to this company when they weren't even doing what they needed to do to earn it in the first place. So
that's factual.
You know how that goes.
But yeah, also, and then as we saw on Keep It G last Monday, you actually dropped it to us while we were live. We got to actually watch the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer as soon as it dropped on YouTube and on Twitter and stuff like that. And that was awesome. So we really appreciate you for dropping that jewel to us. But for, like I said, More Diversity on Wednesdays. Yes. Keep It G on Mondays. Y'all need to start tuning in. We bringing all that here. We trying to build this brand. We trying to bring that heat to y'all. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get it straight started. So might as well go ahead and get straight into it. The big thing that's been going on, Spider-Man No Way Home trailer dropped. And for me, I'm just gonna say, like we've already said this before. I've said this multiple times. Before the movie was even announced, I said that this was the one movie that I wanted to be created after Into the Spider-Verse came out, and they did it. So I'm now, as far as we don't know yet if Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield are going to be in the movie, but we hope, because what the trailer showed us, QMG, can you just give people a rundown what we got from the No Way Home trailer?
Basically what we was expecting to get from it, you know, with the whole universe meddling that we was kind of anticipating them to indulge in. They went ahead and went, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna just start it off talking about how Peter's life is affected because Mysterio shenanigans at the end of Far From Home and whatnot, and him going to visit Doctor Strange to, you know, after you know, a couple of scenes establishing that, you know, life is pretty tough on Big Money Parker, you know, establishing that, yeah, maybe he can try to get this reversed. And then he goes to Doctor Strange and he said, yeah, can you help me reverse this, you know, make people forget? And then Wong, being the smart person that he is, he's like, yeah, this definitely said that. This don't smell right. This don't smell right, and you don't do it. And Doctor Strange, being Doctor Strange, didn't listen to the man.
What he do to the camera? Oh yeah, they can't see your eyes, so I'll do what he do to the camera. He did like this
and wank. But that's a Flapjack reference for all my
and wank.
But yeah, and then went ahead and did it, and Peter remembering that there's at least 3 people he wants to have remember, then but that messes up the spell apparently. Yep. And then we get to see a bunch of this cool dimension stuff, and then, you know, of course, not even gonna bury the lead, we see a pumpkin bomb of the Raimi era Green Goblin, and then we see the iconic Doc Ock.
Hello, Peter.
Yes. Which, by the way, and this just goes to show how much I think Alfred Molina still looks the same. I didn't even realize that was CGI. That was de-aging CGI. Yeah, so facts. You know, like I said, like a lot of people say, actually, that it gets better looking each and every time they use it in movies.
Yeah, it's getting crazy.
Yeah, I know. Back when with Civil War and Rogue One, those were like the first 2 movies to really implement it. People were like, man, young Tony Stark looked kind of iffy, and Grand Moff Tarkin, he looks pretty iffy because and Carrie Fisher as Leia.
Yeah.
Even though I thought that looked pretty good in my opinion, but you looking back on them now, you can definitely see the CGIification. But when you look at movies like Captain Marvel and a couple other films that use that type of,
how did you feel about the Gemini's man de-aging?
I liked it. I never had a problem with the Gemini man stuff. But when you look at that in general, you can see where they upped the technology and got that whole thing.
Bro, you've been seeing them deep fakes.
Yeah, that's. I think that's kind of different technology in the
but
sense.
Don't you think at some point they could like assimilate it together?
Absolutely.
To make it look like
because I was just about to touch
crazy.
I was just about to touch on how that the morality of some using actors who passed away and using their likeness for those characters and whatnot. There's also something else from a show you haven't seen yet that does it perfectly, but we're not even gonna. I'm not. That's my only.
About the Kung Fu show you've been wanting me to watch, Warriors. I think
no, but no, that's not. No.
Oh, but not to get off that topic. But when you were bringing up the de-aging and the morality of it, I was having a conversation with somebody, and I'm glad you brought that up because we were talking about the Stan Lee cameos.
No, I think that there's enough heat on Marvel in general about how they handle in Stan's estate and whatnot. To where his family, his more specifically his surviving children are going to make a huge stink about that if they do that. Yeah. So that brings up your question. Do you personally think that's immoral to do? If it ain't in their wishes? Yes, I do, because that's damn near the effect of that's deep fake in more sense than a way, because you're basically using them a person who doesn't have the agency to speak on it. You're just taking basically a corporation is owning the likeness to a human being, and that's a no. That's like I'm a deep fake Robin Williams to do another Aladdin movie. You know what I'm saying? Even if they're getting all the royalties from that cameo or whatever. You mean you get the blessing of, if the blessing of the family is involved, then I can personally still have moral gripes with it, but if that's something that the large contingent of the family is okay with, then who are you to say? It's not who are you, but it's I can still like only take the argument so far. But if it's like them going just without telling anybody, oh, we're gonna CGI Stan back into the MCU to do cameos, then that's bullshit. Like that's I agree. That's a complete disrespect of the man's name and legacy. And I agree. And they just do what Venom 2 did for people who paid attention to the what was it, the first Venom 2 trailer? Yeah, the first Venom 2 trailer. They reference him in the magazine. Venom can be seen pushing up a magazine with Stan Lee's likeness in there. So go that route if you just have to go in that JB route. Appreciate you for tuning in. No, nothing wrong with the deep fakes. We were just saying it's getting to a point where deep fakes are so believable and like out of this world that it could kind of be like disrespectful, because you could put a deep fake on an actor and have them act this character out and get all the profits from this character's likeness, and it's like almost disrespecting their being. Right. It's like if they used Carrie Fisher's likeness and deep faked her voice to do a Star Wars series about Leia with a lightsaber or something like that. That's a no. Yeah. That's something that you don't do, because that's like, again, monetizing a dead person's likeness beyond a simple picture and reference, like, oh, like especially if they find a loophole where they won't have to pay any gratuity to the family. Oh my God. Yeah, pay any royalty to Indeed. But back to the point that we're talking about with the Spider-Man trailer. It's been long documented my feelings on MCU Spider-Man on this show. Yeah. And it's been long documented on my parameters on excitement for being about it. And I would be a lying bastard if I did not tell you that the more I sat and watched it, I did not get incrementally more and more excited. Not saying I'm 100% on board, because I am not. But what I will say is that from the things that I've seen, that I will not divulge on the show because they are still on the hunt with these certain leaks and whatnot. My thing is, why do you say it then? Because I want folks because you want them to get hyped. No, I want the audience to know that I know a significant amount more than what I may or may not talk about on the show. And so if there's something, like, for instance, Jared watching, and he like, somebody, Q, you said you weren't excited for it, but then I saw a leak of blah, blah, blah. Oh, facts. They'll know how I stand on those things. So, okay. It's let's double back, and what I'm saying? Yeah. So especially with those things, leaks are, I'm not Legally, I'm not talking. I would like to anybody watching to be know that I am not speaking on any leaks or lack thereof. I'm just simply speaking on any litany of things that can virtually get me excited about a potential Spider-Man film, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. With that being said, those things in question definitely has unfortunately guaranteed that I will have to pay money to see that film, barring any sort of COVID things that will make me double take that. But if everything is on the up and up by December and nothing, please God, nothing happens where that's not the case, then I'll be in theaters to watch it, because it's just that.
B, appreciate you for tuning in,
that
bro.
Big. Now let's just drop some of the pretenses. We're not going to go into the leak stuff or potential leak stuff.
Yeah, we could just talk about how we felt about the trailer, and like you were already doing. Like,
I mean, specifically, let's just drop the pretense. This is a multiverse story. This is unambiguously a multiverse story. This is not, we're bringing back Alfred Molina to play the MCU version. No, this is intended. For you to understand that is in some way, shape, or form the Sam Raimi Doc. And we can assume the same. Maybe they are going to bite the bullet and use James Franco despite all the shit he's had his name on. And maybe
I doubt James Franco.
Maybe that's the new Goblin.
I doubt James Franco. Well, we'll talk about that theory in a minute, because it's a theory. It's no spoiler. It's just a theory at this point.
Throwback to how Q and a couple of our friends back in the day thought that he was called the Hobgoblin.
So all right,
even though that's not how that works, because it's OSB.
So
let's be Hospa Goblin. And that Harry has
now I'm finna mess y'all up with this. So Harry Osborn is just like in Irish culture, O'Malley or McMahon. You see how they make the C small and the O'Malley, the O, and then the HB. So Osborn, O, then the S. You feel what I'm saying?
No, because firstly,
OSB. So it's like separating all of them, which makes Harry Osborn Goblin, Hobgoblin.
No, that would work if Osborn was spelled phonetically like those European last names you mentioned.
Well, I didn't know.
It's always been lowercase all the. It's never been a situation like a McMahon or anything like that. It's literally spelled phonetically like every other.
I get that
name.
now, but at the time,
I told you
when Spider-Man 3 came out,
and add to the fact that Harry Norman has ever been Hob. They've only ever been green. So not saying that they couldn't change it.
That's what I was saying.
But when the press release was literally saying new Goblin, and it's like, no, he's not Hobgoblin.
I was adamant about it.
It's like, I'm saying that doesn't work, because it's not OS. It's not that you would like. It's like it would have to be the Hobgoblin, because the S and the B.
I get that now, but I'm saying at the time, Harry Osborn. Norman is the Green Goblin, which is Harry's father. So if Harry, and then they had the whole mystery about who the Hobgoblin was if you didn't read the comic books. So I'm thinking Harry Osborn. And in Spider-Man 3, they make Harry a Green Goblin character,
the new Goblin, like they said in the press stuff, and it didn't explicitly stay in the movie.
So back to what you were saying about them potentially putting James Franco. You think James Franco is going to come back?
Hell no. It's obviously going to be Willem Dafoe, but it would be like, just for the sake of being
the Hobgoblin, right? Jay, he said the Hobgoblin.
Like, just for the sake of not assuming it could, but it's obviously not, because one, James Franco is like very much embroiled in allegations and things that have come to light that he actually has done.
He's in the water.
So I'd like, nah. I mean, yeah, nah. But yeah, and also we can cut for those who've been was attentive with the trailer. You of course saw sand and lightning and a creature.
Yes, and we don't know who the creature is, but I'm assuming it's lizard.
I would assume so as well. And plus, people
were assuming it was Venom. I was like, I can't even. Nah,
they would not. A character, the importance of Venom would not be relegated to blinking your miss. Yes. They would have him like Doc Ock or potentially Green Goblin, and having him have his own stinger if they chose to spoil that in a trailer.
I caught this, and I remember he was like, I don't think they're gonna do this, and I was like, I think if they're gonna go this route with multiverse, we had talked about it. I was like, I think they're gonna do a multiverse Sinister Six, because we remember they were talking about the Sinister Six before all this. And he was like, I don't know about that. That's what it's looking like.
Yeah, the reason I said that was because one, I didn't really fully believe in the multiverse aspect of it just yet.
Yeah, like the grand scheme, like if they were going to make it this grand multiverse movie for Spider-Man. Yeah, I feel you.
And secondly, because
what's up, Real?
What's up? Half of the Sinister Six already exist in the MCU. You have Vulture, you have Scorpion, who would end up being, shout outs to the actor who plays Voss. He also played Matt Gargan in Homecoming. One of the few things I actually popped for in Homecoming when I watched it.
Yes.
And of course, Shocker. So those are three. You have Vulture, Scorpion, and Shocker. So that's three.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay. And then Mysterio, you can bring back Mysterio, some shit. So that's four. So you really need to. Maybe they fit Rhino in there. So I'm thinking like, okay, maybe they'll do that, and then probably have Alfred Molina if that's anything like true. But I was kind of like, okay, they already have like half of the establishing MCU, what could be the MCU Sinister Six. So yeah, but also, and I'm glad you brought that up because the Lightning, obviously, that's Jamie Foxx. We know Jamie Foxx, like he was one of the first people that was rumored / confirmed to be a part of No Way Home. So the so that amongst
I definitely want to, before you move on from that, I want to talk about what are your theories, because obviously his electricity colors are different than from an Amazing Spider-Man. Do you think something has something to do with him imploding at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, which changed?
A couple of things, actually. It could be, well, for one, if we kind of can say that it absolutely is.
Yeah.
Electro's originally, his lightning was yellow.
Yeah.
Right. And with Electro in the comics, he's always been a slick, low-key, high-key powerhouse villain, not just in Spider-Man, but in the Marvel Universe period. So
one of the strongest, facts.
If we're gonna say multiverse, then we can probably surmise that maybe him going through the multiverse affected his powers, and now he's stronger. Which in Amazing Spider-Man 2 is pretty fucking OP.
Now, and also one thing we definitely know, if you look at Spider-Man's new suit that we thought was literally Spectral suit from Doctor Strange, it actually has a circuit board in it, as opposed to maybe like insulation.
Well, the Marvel Legends finally officially released their No Way Home wave, which I will be scooping up to because obviously, and it more or less confirmed 2 suits, and probably it's going to be one of those. For those who don't remember, when Far From Home came out, the feast scene that they showed in the trailer, he was in his traditional red and blue suit, but when the movie came out, it was the Iron Spider suit. What I'm going to surmise is that the bridge scene when he turned into Iron Spider, that's going to be his new Iron Spider that they leaked a couple of months ago and confirmed in the Marvel Legends. So I still think the black and gold one is going to be magic stuff. I think that there's one more part of the trailer I want to touch on.
Yeah, when he was running through the feast.
But the implications of that. But I think that the suit is obviously, I think that's going to be his like jack of all trades suit.
Yeah.
I think that the armored, I think obviously they're going to see the red and black suit, but because of his
what's up, Jerry? Yeah, the trailer is fine. Not to cut you off.
Yeah. But I think that I think the new upgraded Iron Spider suit, they're probably going to use make that now an amalgamation of the Spider armor suit. And I think that's what he's going to. And you know what? And it just dawned on me. They might actually use that suit like they use the End of the Earth Spider-Man suit, where that's his like, okay, I'm on my own and I got a lot of folks breathing down my neck. So let me just go gutter.
So I know they're talking, obviously, if you know the trailer, there's going to be a time skip. Do you think it's going to be like a 6 month to a year? I'm thinking it's like a year time skip because it looks like it's going to go from the like summerish, because that movie was set in like a summertime, like so they were on summer they were on summer vacation. Now it's looking like it's gonna shoot straight to Christmas time, maybe like
Halloween actually.
Because the vampire. So that's like 3 months. I mean, like only like 3 to 4 months, right?
Yeah, I'm going to say, because I've been thinking about it and it's kind of been confirmed in my mind now, but I think that Far From Home being the last canonically new MCU film, that because if we're gonna look at it, the pandemic, but then the next movie would have been Black Widow, and then Eternals, but then Shang-Chi got it was originally going to be just Black Widow, Eternals, then Shang-Chi, because but then because of the pandemic, all 3 movies come out in the same year. I think that you're right. I think that is going to be like a 3-month time skip, August, September, and then culminates in October. So it's like a nice 2 months of Peter's identity being out there. And that's why it's not like a knee-jerk decision. I think Peter kind of waited out, because if you pay attention in the trailer, Peter's not a fugitive, right?
He's not a fugitive that we know of at the point where we see a lot of the time skips, because right at the beginning, as we can see, he's being hounded by everyone.
What I think is, and this is, and we gotta touch on this rumor definitively. I think that, and I know you probably won't hate when I point this out, but I think that the long rumored Charlie Cox.
Don't say it.
The long rumored Charlie Cox, Daredevil, Matt Murdock.
Everybody's saying
is going to be a short cameo.
Oh, that's fine, as long as they show him.
It's going to be. I think that, and this is probably, this will piss me off if they do this. I think that the Mysterio aspect of it all, obviously not the identity, because we know it's still going to be out there by the time he visits Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But I think the Mysterio aspect of him lying and all of that stuff, I think that will be resolved in the first act.
I would think so.
And I think that Peter still will just be a super, like it'll still be a celebrity aspect that Peter can't handle. I think what it's going to be is that it's going to be some sort of proof that absolves Peter, and then Mysterio's probably going to tip his hand, and it'll be like, the typical MCU.
You think Mysterio's still alive?
I mean, you never seen the stuff that the stuff that was pointed out at the end of Far From. I thought you were
talking about like when he was at the airport looking at Peter.
Yeah, that's after.
That's after.
Yes,
I thought that was. Oh, I thought that was when they had got on the plane and first made it to France.
No, when he got off the plane and May's like, "Oh man, your suitcase." Like,
and Mysterio, I could have sworn that was
that's the end of the movie.
Oh, okay. Well, he is that's factual.
So I think Marvel's going to do that thing where they take that plot point you think they're going to run with and make it be significant and resolve it and then move on.
Oh yeah, that's 100%. I agree with you 100%. I think what they're going to do is have the Fury's time skip is just settling that whole arc, finishing that arc up. Like once the police question him and Charlie Cox get him off, bam, I'm Spider-Man. I'm a good guy. I'm not in trouble no more. Time skip.
Yeah, but he's still hounding of it. The lack of more like, because if you've noticed, this literally just plopped in my brain. If you noticed, the first two Spider-Man movies in the MCU, they love montages to establish points. You know, even though they cut the good montage out of Far From Home, where he was doing the traditional Spider-Man stuff. Yeah. In Homecoming and in Far From Home, they both have feature montages of Peter going through the motions in some regard. So I think they're going to do it again with this one, but it'll be like how he's dealing with a celebrity, him not having time, even show people attacking, basically leaning into the whole Peter being the new Iron Man and why that doesn't work for Peter, because he doesn't have the resources to keep everybody safe, like, which ties into the scene we saw with Happy being surrounded and whatnot.
To harken on your point before, so you can keep on going, I agree 100%, because I think that's going to be a big thing that Spider-Man is going to have to deal with, because now when you have a face to point the blame to, you know what I'm saying? Why weren't you here to save this person? Why weren't you here to save this person? Why weren't people are like, he's neighborhood Spider-Man, so people are going to expect him to do more than what within his range. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are now can literally come to your house. Why didn't you save my sister?
Why didn't you? Where were you? Where were you at Westview? And even though I hate doing that, because Marvel has never done that outside of the Sokovian Accord era. But theoretically, they'll be like, where was you at Westview, or when Cap and Bucky needed you, when Morgenthau was, with the, et cetera, et cetera.
Factual.
So that might be what takes a toll on Peter.
Definitely.
His mentality and his relationship with his friends and family that leads him to Doctor Strange.
So I definitely want to give you my theory.
Yes.
And I want you to just hearken on it while I'm talking about it, because as we know, they switched Genki. They switched Genki out with Ned Leeds, who we know is actually in the comic books and in the animated. All this other is the Hobgoblin.
Yes.
So I don't think they're personally gonna go the same route as we usually see, because Ned is such a beloved character. As we're dealing with the multiverse, and Loki has brought up the idea of variants, how do we not know that once he goes into this multiverse, and because obviously Peter is going to go into another universe that's not his own, where they don't know he's Spider-Man up to this point. So what if this Ned that we see does become the Hobgoblin, but we still have the original Ned from the original universe that is still his best friend?
That'd be interesting. That would be interesting because it would tie that in some regard, and it would introduce a new character wholesale because we've never seen Hobgoblin in any Spider-Man movie at all
without truly losing Ned as the character we know now.
Yeah, and you can even cast a new actor. Not saying that the current guy can't be Hobgoblin.
Hey, Miss Yvonne, what's up? But
not saying that, but I do think that it would, for the purposes of, and almost what can I say? Who are you type deal? Like the shock of it, like, oh, I'm Ned Leeds.
Yeah.
And then they don't recognize him because he's a traditional looking Ned. Yeah. And then that,
but we did know that the actor who plays Ned Leeds, he lost a lot of weight for this specific movie.
But we also know the Spider-Man cast specifically like to lie.
That's true.
So
that's true.
So, that there's that whole deal. Also one thing, and I'm gonna throw it to your theory. I just read it today that the schedule, which is like the rough idea of the runtime, which normally is like a little bit less than the actual runtime will be. Yeah, it's set at 2 hours and 30 minutes. So
that's what I want. I really want 3 hours, but I could deal with 2:30. 2:30 is a solid because 3 hours. I know even sitting in Endgame and Infinity War, he was kind of like, but
well, I'll say this. Infinity War more so than Endgame blew by. It was a nice watch.
Yes.
And plus, if there's one thing I learned this year, the Snyder Cut being 4 hours. If it's really good, you don't pay attention to that.
Dre, what's up, Draco?
Like, because I know that was both of our feelings about the Snyder Cut. Yes. Like that, despite it being 4 hours, it just breezed by.
But also, I think a lot of times it was something that we were fiending for, like really wanted, as well as the pacing was good. But I think it was just so much hype built in. We wanted to see every inch of what was different. So yeah,
I mean, as a person who saw it 7 times,
man, what you said,
you preaching to the choir.
But if James Franco is not in that movie, he gonna be seeing everybody getting paid and everybody chilling. If everybody else is in it, he gonna be out there like this.
Me, I'm fighting for my life. Yo,
he played them games. That's on them.
James Franco gonna be sick.
Shouldn't have been messing with them girls like that.
He gonna be sick. But yeah, but no, I think what they're gonna do, because Ned is such a like, people love Ned with Peter, and I don't think they're just gonna take him and dismantle him in what potentially could be Tom Holland's last MCU Spider-Man movie, full Spider-Man movie. I think with the addition of variants and the addition of multiverse, they have a potential to see where Ned could have went due to Peter having all this go on, when they are making a big deal about Peter's how he's going to be spending his time trying to be a hero, trying to be a friend, trying to be in a relationship. And a lot of that is going to be strained, I think. And I think having this variant Ned, seeing what happens if Peter does, no one knows he's Spider-Man up to this point, or his friends not knowing, I think is going to have a toll on them. So
what's your overall theory about it before I give you a couple
of the whole movie?
Well, just your theories that you just alluded to.
Well, I think, like I've said before, I think we're gonna get a multiversal aspect where the Sinister Six somehow through this spell that happens, that the multiversal Sinister Six is gonna come together. I don't know if there's a bigger bad yet that is gonna like kind of bring them together, or they're just gonna like straggle in and team up. But I think it's gonna be too much for Tom Holland Spider-Man. And I don't know if they're going to do another spell. I don't know how they're going to do it, but
and then all the animated series Spider-Man will pop up, and Tobey and Andrew won't be in there, right?
Facts. And Nick Cage gonna come, bro. Just tell me, would this be hard if Nick Cage wasn't animated but had the Spider-Man Noir live action?
I mean, I'm joking, but I'll touch on that after you get
Would
done.
that be live, though?
I will talk about all things encompassing that particular part once you get done saying yours.
That'd be crazy. But no, in seriousness, I would think that the other two Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, would have to come and help him. I don't know if it's going to be third act, but I think it's going to be first act. He gets his ass whooped after the time skip and all that, and the Sinister Six beat the brakes off him. I think second act, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are introduced, and we get a little bit of them team like working together and learning and stuff like that. And I think third act is just full on war. I think it's gonna be crazy because Doctor Strange is obviously gonna come back and help. It's gonna be crazy.
That's it. Before I want to make sure if that's all, because there's one last point about this movie.
If anybody has to be the big bad, I would love for it to be Willem Dafoe. Like if he was the one just really pulling the Norman Osborn strings, like he always does.
Return to formula.
Me and MJ, we're gonna have a hell of a out. Am I? What do you
I'm
say?
a little bit of a scientist myself.
I gave you friendship, and you spat in my
impressive pick. But enough about the greatness of Spider-Man #1. There's only one thing I want from this movie.
Yeah.
Now we've talked at length about Multiverse of Madness and how the MCU has done an incredible job with literally 2 of their 3 Disney Plus series so far, establishing the need for us to want to see that.
Yeah.
And how really both of those shows, WandaVision and Loki respectively, kind of, blew our minds. Probably it didn't have us fully engaged all throughout it, but when it came to sticking the landing, it did so impeccably. We can agree on that.
Yeah, facts.
But there is one thing I need this movie to do. That supersedes all of that. That supersedes multiverse, Kang, Wanda, all that shit. And that is, and I obviously know one of the post-credit scenes will be directly tying into what's going to happen in Doctor Strange 2. I'm not an idiot. We all know that. But I don't want confirmation of Tom Hardy Venom in the MCU.
What?
I don't, as the other one. I don't want that. I don't want anything about Morbius. I don't want anything about the Fantastic Four. I don't want anything about the X-Men. I don't want anything about Kang. I don't want any of that. There's only one thing worthy enough to be the absolute, and I'm kind of getting emotional talking about it.
Hold on, let me zoom in.
There's only one thing that needs to be the last thing you see in the theater.
I want to hear this.
And it's not Peter Parker.
Oh, I know what it is.
It's not Peter Parker will return in Avengers 4.
I know what it is.
Or Young Avengers 6 or any of that shit. It's
yes, sir. Go ahead and say it.
Doom. Meanwhile, in Earth 1610, and it cuts to Into the Spider-Verse animation.
Yes.
And that's where the Spider-Man multiverse thread picks up. And what happens in this movie directly leads into not Multiverse of Madness, but Into the Spider-Verse 2. Because that is what, if you want, and this is me speaking directly to Sony, Marvel, Feige, whoever the fuck.
Let me zoom back in on you then.
If you want to guarantee, you already got people who, you already put the butts in the seats. You already did that.
Yeah.
But if you want to guarantee that nothing, even though nothing DC will do in the next year is going to compare, because they're going to shit out an awful Flash movie and kind of sort of get people involved with a Batman, even though if the pandemic is still bad, that they're not going to go to the theaters to see a Batman movie. But if you want to guarantee that nothing DC can do, save for bringing back Zack and firing all of the idiots who made him and Ray's Life's a Living Hell are gone, make sure Into the Spider-Verse is referenced and like referenced hard, and that's where we will see Tom and Toby and Andrew next. It doesn't Tom doesn't have to stay at Sony.
Yeah.
Because if y'all do this, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it McClunky.
Yeah.
I will take back every fucking thing I've ever said bad about Spider-Man in the MCU. If they do that, if they acknowledge, if they, in their infinite wisdom, go, we know this movie existed. We know how much it meant to everyone, because being at again, I told the story before. I'm gonna say it again because it's relevant. Being at a major comic convention months after Into the Spider-Verse came out and won that Oscar was one of the most magical and happy environments to be in, because everybody was excited. Everybody in a Spider-Man costume loved it. Somebody literally tossed me a bagel at the convention because I was dressed up as Miles. Like, that movie literally resonated with every Spider-Man fan. And if you want to guarantee infinite happiness for that full calendar year, until Into the Spider-Verse 2 come out, just do that.
I'm finna make you think about something. Ain't it ironic that this movie drops the same time that Into the Spider-Verse
came
did.
out. Yes, it's very. That's why.
Just saying.
That is why I'm saying.
Just saying. It's ironic.
Look, y'all.
That's
Y'all
ironic.
are already going to see Doctor Strange 2. The streets is telling me we're already going to see Venom 2. That's that's factual. Venom 2 is pandemic or fuck around and the pandemic be over. Venom 2 might be $1 billion movie. Honest to God, the way folks are really, really rocked with Venom 1 and rocks with I know you personally weren't too enthralled with what you saw, but a lot of other people rocks with Venom 2. Those are guaranteed moneymakers. You don't have to sell anybody else on those things.
Yeah.
You really don't have to sell anybody else on Into the Spider-Verse 2. But if there's one movie you just want to make sure is guaranteed to be that movie, do it with Into the Spider-Verse 2.
And
just do that.
And no, not gonna lie, because what you're talking about is very intriguing, but it makes it more intriguing with how it seems like since they came to that deal with Tom Holland being back in the MCU, Sony and Marvel been real chummy lately. Have you noticed that? Especially dealing with like Spider-Man.
I mean, I know that first Morbius trailer came out what seems like a lifetime ago, but let's remember Michael Keaton ass was at the end of that shit.
Yeah.
And it was directly referencing the place he was at the end of Homecoming. And the last I checked,
they've been real chummy.
I mean, say what you want about the logistics of Tom Hardy's existence in the MCU. I know that that's still very much debated, and maybe it will be quelled at the end of No Way Home. Maybe it won't.
I think it'd be quelled at the end of Venom 2.
I mean, whether it is or isn't, that's a conversation for another day. But if you end that movie, if that movie is as good as people want it to be, and you end it with with a Into the Spider-Verse tie with that score, that iconic Daniel Pemberton
I think that'll be the icing on the cake.
Like if something happens and it looks like Peter and the Spider and the other two, all three Peters have to make a self-sacrifice, which is why they probably wouldn't be in Multiverse of Madness. And the next time we see them, Gwen and Penny pull them out of the multiverse and like, okay, guys, let me tell you how this. Let me tell you in so many words. Tell you, okay, let me tell you how this shit really works. Like now you're really in the shit.
So
now.
would it hit less for you if they didn't do it in the Spider-Verse movie, but did do it in Multiverse of Madness, since we know Spider-Man is going to be in it?
Well, we assume that. Spider-Man
but would it still hit less for you if they did it like that? Like they didn't do it in the Spider-Man movie, but in Multiverse of Madness, Peter gets a scene where he looks through or something. Does it hit less?
It kind of sort of at this point in time, it kind of sort of would, because I don't know.
Because I think it wouldn't, because you're still getting it. It's just not when you thought you were getting it.
I think what I think is that Multiverse of Madness, in my mind, should be focused around establishing two, three things.
Yeah.
Kang, definitively, that's number one, because we have to acknowledge what he said in Loki, and we have to acknowledge that no matter what because obviously it's looking like all four of the mofos, Wanda, Sylvie, Loki, and Strange.
Can we talk about that for a minute? Can we talk about that?
Because
so I'm gonna set the stage, because I definitely want you to get in, because we've been talking about this and everybody has had different opinions. Shout out to my boy Tori, my barber. He got me right. You know what I'm saying?
I wish you would have told me you was going to talk about
I got you next time. But yeah, so shout out to him, because we had a conversation, because he honestly believes that Doctor Strange's spell was the one that broke the multiverse. But like I told him, we right now have 4 instances that we could either claim to be
3 if you ask me, but that's just me.
And that's a game theory. Don't get DMC.
We're not gonna dive back into that Wanda Darkhold argument. So we're just gonna leave that one as it is.
Not the Darkhold, but when she became a Nexus being. That's the part where people saying
we're just gonna leave that as it be.
So we got 4 initial moments. We got the snap is the first. Then we have Wanda supposedly becoming the Nexus being, what said changed the multiverse. Then was something that spread it out and broke it. Then we have when Sylvie stabbed the He Who Remains, and now it's seeming we have Doctor Strange.
One of the worst pro gamer moves in history.
I swear, the worst pro gamer moves. And now we have Doctor Strange and Peter ruining the multiversal spell that would transcend him into another universe, and it broke it open. So what is your thoughts? Because I think it's one of those time things where all time is relevant, and not relevant at the same time? Like, so all of them existed at the same time but didn't?
Yes. Here's what I think. And I have two school of thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Either we're going to find out definitively what did it in Doctor Strange 2, or we're going to find out it actually was none of those. And that goes back to my theory I spoke about last time about the Kang with the larger eyesight of the playing field, manipulating things to put folks at each other's throats. Because, you know, when we watched the WandaVision, the only reason multiverse came to our mind at all was because we knew that there was going to be a movie about the multiverse involved. Exactly. Wanda was going to be a significant character in that.
We never would have thought of that otherwise.
If we had no idea Doctor Strange 2 was coming out and they shot that scene, or if you had no idea, or, you know, weren't keeping up on it, you would have just assumed Wanda was boosting her powers.
No, I'm not going to say that. Not to cut you off. I know it's your theory, but not to say that, because we did get a sniff, but it turned out to be a supposed lie in Far From Home.
But I get that, but with Far From Home, you know, again, if we didn't get any information,
Wanda wouldn't have been.
Yeah, if we just took everything at face value, Mysterio was lying, and that's the end and short of it.
It wouldn't even been nothing to think about Wanda being in the multiverse. Facts,
right? So with that, we have Loki, which objectively seems very cut and dry. We're physically seeing the timelines branch and the multiverse being accessed to everyone, but that's not an implication that everything is going wrong, because obviously we see TVA and we can surmise that there is maybe more than one, you know, it might not be an infinite number, but there's at least multiple TVAs that might kind of, you know, we can assume that they might be pruning stuff and, you know, doing their best to quell it. With Doctor Strange, and I don't think a lot of people, maybe they're kind of in, it's fair game because it's a trailer, taking at face value. Who's to say that it's Peter? Maybe Doctor Strange thinks it's Peter because his concentration is being broken. But maybe what if there's some sort of outlier that they delve into, either in No Way or Multiverse of Madness?
And what if they switch the trailer? What if it's not Peter? Like you said, what if it's like the trailer showing Peter, but what if it's not?
Right, because a lot of people seem to be at arms about Doctor Strange being distracted in a spell, but I would like folks to remember Doctor Strange is not, I mean, he's made mistakes in the films. He's had lapses of judgment, and he's not like, it's not just snap of his fingers with everything, especially with a spell. Wong, which we have to again remember, is technically more seasoned than Doctor Strange because he was more or less.
Oh yeah, he's 100. That's what I'm saying. Why don't Doctor Strange just use a spell? Because he don't have no problem using any spell. Just use a spell to make you like the most smartest spellcaster of all time, like, period.
I mean, because that's not how magic works. They always got a restriction on that.
But quick sidebar, Wong, where is he going? I already know you know where he's going, but where is he going?
No, I would assume Shang Chi takes place before this, but I would say that
really,
I would say Wong is like, dude, I think this is the setup, and I could be very wrong. I think the setup is, dude, you know I'm finna go on vacation. Why are you gonna do something to fuck something up?
That trick Wong gonna be looking in the sky like, you son of a bitch.
Like, you know, it's my vacation. I don't have to worry about, I'm gonna be fighting for my own volition. I ain't gotta operate as Sorcerer Supreme for 5 years because you went and got yourself snapped. I ain't gotta bring everybody across the universe to fight Thanos. I'm just about to chill.
That trick Wong gonna be on vacation. All he gonna hear is that trick gonna be Wong gonna be like,
he literally gonna drop his head and just shake it.
This son of a bitch. Wong already know what time it is when they do that. You're like, the Sinister Six has landed. So 6 villains have landed in New York City. Oh shit.
Yeah. But yeah, my feelings of that's basically it. Just put Into the Spider-Verse tease, an overt tease. Have, better yet, instead of it being Gwen, have Miguel intercept the 3 Peters, because we already know Miguel got the watch.
Yeah, facts.
Got the watch.
So we got to talk about the elephant in the room, because obviously I don't know if they could tell, but we're black.
Yes. So
we got to bring up, do you think Miles is going to be in the movie and have a prominent role?
No, if the only way Miles shows up is if it's Into the Spider-Verse Miles. I think that it's the same reason with my why they wouldn't introduce Inhumans when they're about to introduce the mutants and the Eternals. Too much at the same time, and it's not enough establishment to let things breathe.
Yeah, especially with 2 hours and 30 minutes.
You can't. It's if you're gonna do if allegedly gonna do three Peters, Doctor Strange, and a multiverse Sinister Six.
Yeah, that's a lot, especially when you want. But I guess what they're thinking with the Sinister Six, at least each generation is gonna already know the backstories of their specific villains. You feel what I'm saying?
That worked because that's what worked with Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
but and plus, and the biggest reason, it just wouldn't make any sense. It just wouldn't make any sense to introduce Miles now because, let's say what 2016 Homecoming. That's when Gambino dropped the reference, and now we're gonna assume that's like 8 years plus. So he's probably at that age now. But again, it just wouldn't make sense to introduce Miles now when it wouldn't make sense to introduce Miles now if one Tom re-upped and we're gonna see him more in more MCU projects, and two, you already have an established Miles who has an upcoming film that's going to theoretically deal with more multiverse stuff. You can just for the sake of just continuing the momentum in a way that you don't have to make any stops, just transfer it over to Into the Spider-Verse, go from there. And then when all that's wrapped up, send everybody back home to chill, and then we go from there.
Another reason I think they shouldn't do Miles or kind of rather, can't or shouldn't do Miles is because the story because obviously they're not going to go a route which Miles is the singular person of his universe in that specific sense if they're doing MCU. And the big thing with Miles and Peter's relationship is Peter's been Spider-Man for a pretty long time at this point,
and has been on his own 2 feet. Two things that,
and is more of a mentor.
Yeah, and 2 things. No matter if you like or hate it, the MCU Spider-Man has not stood on his own.
No, not to this point. No.
In the franchise, so there will be nothing for Peter to teach Miles. There's no, and I know people will be like, so well, they can be equals, but they can. But it's more compelling when Peter has. And specifically what the last couple of years of Peter and Miles' relationship has been is that Peter teaches Miles, but Miles still can make his own decisions, and that impresses Peter. Like we saw Into the Spider-Verse, Peter showed him the ropes, but then when Miles was doing things that Peter probably wouldn't have thought to do if he was in his shoes at his age, that shows the stark difference between the two and why they both, while there still is a mentor protege relationship, it still equals in the sense that they both trust each other.
The only thing that trips me out between like how they are in the comic books now that they're both in the 616 universe is everybody's still got to call both of them Spider-Man. Hey, like, what up, Spider-Man?
That's how it is. When you go when you go that you can get down like that. I mean, like when Wolverine now with Laura and Logan both operate. Yeah, Spider-Man, Miles, and Peter. When you're goated and nobody can touch you in your field. You can like the DC stuff. Flash, they call Barry Flash. They call Wally Flash. Yeah, when you got it like that. You got it like that.
So I really dig the fact of you bringing the Into the Spider-Verse up. I really would like to see them hearken to that because Into the Spider-Verse literally, I'm gonna say, inspired this specific multiversal movie because they saw how good Into the Spider-Verse did. Knowing our love for Toby, knowing people love Andrew, knowing what people love Tom Holland. I think Into the Spider-Verse really inspired this too. So I would love to see them harken back. Now, me personally, like I said before, I would love to see maybe some of these characters that we saw Into the Spider-Verse, if they're gonna do it, maybe go across the 3D plane. That'll be cool to me. Seeing Nicolas Cage's Spider-Man Noir, like take his mask off. Where the hell am I, or something like that.
I think that again, I think, and this is why I would prefer it to be continued Into the Spider-Verse. This movie can be the start of the 3 Peters journey into the multiverse and what it represents. And then follow me, Into the Spider-Verse 2 can be a role reversal. Whereas Peter was there to guide Miles on his journey to be Spider-Man. Now Miles can guide these Peters throughout the multiverse.
That would be amazing, but I think that's too ambitious.
And so was the first Into the Spider-Verse, and it won an Oscar and is legitimately one of, if not the best comic book movie of all time.
No, I'm not saying ambitious as it would be bad if they tried it. I'm saying, like we always say, the directors and Feige and them, they don't always give us exactly what we want.
True.
And to give us that, like, how many hoops they finna have, because once and I'm pretty positive this Spider-Man movie, whether it's a critical bomb, it's gonna be a financial success. Everybody that's a human fan of Marvel is gonna see this movie. So it's gonna be a financial.
We've been talking about this for an hour.
I know, right? We had so many other things.
Like, it really hasn't felt an hour talking like this. It honestly hasn't.
It is gonna have some pull. So now you're gonna have to take into account Andrew's gonna want more money for the any sequels. Toby's gonna want more money for any sequels.
But peep this though.
Uh-huh.
That's true. But you literally cannot find 3 people in this planet that loves and understands the significance
these 3 people
of playing Spider-Man.
Facts.
Than Tom, Andrew, and Toby. And that's
Facts.
not cap. That's not hyperbole. Those 3 people understands
Facts.
the weight of being Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And they would theoretically know how much Into the Spider-Verse meant to any Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
So if you told them, we're not done with y'all, and we're going to put y'all into the Spider-Verse, and we're going to go full steam ahead.
Yes.
With those 3 being the actors that they are and the creatives that they are, and how, like, and all the things I just said, they will be. I think that they would have the. Well, for one, I would be shocked if the monetary aspect of it wasn't doled out, wasn't hashed out beforehand. And secondly, the creative would be a bigger driving force than the monetary.
Because I know they know we want them to be in everything Spider-Man already. And I've already acknowledged that Andrew Garfield is probably my least favorite. But one thing I tell anybody talking about it, that I don't put any blame on him. I put it on the writing for me personally, because seeing his love for the character, his enjoyment for playing Peter Parker and Spider-Man, there was no denying that he loved playing that character. And when he felt like the writing didn't go the way that he felt, or the character didn't go in the way that he felt Peter Parker should go, he was heartbroken. He was very much heartbroken. And I felt for him, because I was like, I could see his love for this character. He really was having the best time playing Spider-Man Peter Parker. So for him to get a second chance and come back, I'm hyped. But back to what you were saying, and I definitely want you to touch on it just a little bit more. I just think it's a little too ambitious for us to get this, then potentially get something with Venom in Multiverse of Madness, or at the end of this, and potentially get something into the Spider-Verse. Then on top of that, move forward with 3 Spider-Man, Toby, Andrew, Tom, and Miles moving forward. I don't think they're thinking that far ahead. It will be amazing, and I want that.
You already know that I agree, but I would like to shade the current DC regime by saying you must have them confused with the Hamada-led DC regime in terms of not giving folks what they want and choosing to take the idiotic road instead of the obvious fan service role. Now, you're right, because we've spoken about this in the past about how we let our eyes and our own think dictate the direction of the MCU and not accept what they're actually going to do. But
WandaVision.
WandaVision with the Quicksilver bullshit.
Mephisto.
But and I will once again put out the saying that this could be the just the recency bias of how well they handle multiverse, specifically speaking. But they've just been so good at they did that so well. I kind of am just on that train and accept, and I'll accept the obvious limitations, but embrace the likelihood of them exceeding my expectations at this point. They've earned that right from me now. Now they can completely mess that up, and I'll be like, I'm just gonna get off on this stop, and y'all be breezy. But right now, they have convinced me to buy a ticket and sit on this train and see where it goes.
Definitely. And back to we were talking about them doing what a lot of our expectations and kind of soiling it's WandaVision. You remember when everybody was talking about who her is gonna, it should be everything coming back up. But do you remember they were talking about who her connect was? And everybody was like, it's Reed Richards. It's that joke was funny. Where's the mouse?
It froze.
Oh, it's not. It's the computer. Factuals. But you remember when everybody was talking about Reed Richards and Reed Richards being the guy Ken. Appreciate you tuning in. We talking about Spider-Man, bro.
Yeah.
You remember everybody was talking about it was Reed Richards or it was an Inhuman or it was like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was they dropped the ball on that one big thanks. But yeah, since we about to hit this hour mark, let's go ahead and just go through just to end. We'll talk about Gamescom next week, but let's cap it off with the second Marvel topic that we have is Shang Chi coming out this Friday. Now,
woo! So, first, like before we get into that, and I know we almost there. Thank you guys. Tune in. We cannot do this without y'all. We so grateful and so thankful for the support y'all been giving, tuning in, giving your comments, giving your feedback. Like I always say, you can always go watch us on YouTube and Into the QUNIVERSE on YouTube. We're live on there as well, live on Facebook, on our Facebook channels. And y'all can like, comment, share, come talk with us, give us y'all opinions, give us y'all thoughts. Tune in to Keep It G every Monday, 7:40 Central, where me, Danita, D-Man, keep our eyes and ears to the streets for everything geek
and
diversity.
Oh yeah. Wait. Oh, so what you're doing is you're just saying it now so you don't forget, so you don't misspeak and call us Keep It G again at the end of the show.
That's factual.
Yeah, diversity. We don't know what we're talking about this week, and which means that you can expect me to put Big Bad Booty Daddy as my name on the show this week because I've been having a theme for the past couple of videos we did. First, last Wednesday, I was Mr. 69 on the reaction video.
You should have called yourself Mr. Taco Tuesday.
That's coming. Well, it's Wednesday, so that wouldn't work. It's Wednesday, so that wouldn't work.
Mr. Taco. Oh well, we'll have.
But you just inspired me for what I'm going to actually call myself this Wednesday. So thank you for that. This previous video, MD reacts to Midnight Suns and Jellystone. I was the MILF Hunter, and so tune in this Wednesday on Diversity to know what I call myself. When I call myself, we should have a pretty good topic like we always do. We might just shoot the shit for an hour and a half. Who knows?
Facts. But back to Shang-Chi, which is coming out, 4 or 5 days now?
This Friday, September 3rd.
This Friday. We've talked about this last week. We think it's going to be not saying about the movie in general, but financially, we both think is not going to do well due to the current pandemic.
Which is bogus as hell because Disney, I know they're trying to dodge the ScarJo heat, so they're obviously not going to do the dual release because that would give her ammunition in her litigation against them. However, it's very fucked up that instead of using the super duper untested, really fucking boring, nobody's enthused about Eternals film, that if it doesn't have an X-Men illusion or a setup, then it will, what's the point?
Granny, what's up?
But it's messed up that they're not going to use that and instead going to use the legitimately good looking first Chinese led superhero film
to fall on the sword. And Simon Lu, he's very enthused about playing Shang-Chi. I don't know if you've seen the interview where he said he wants to see Spider Island adapted so he can do a team with Silk.
No, Silk comes after.
Oh, okay.
But he wants to.
Oh no, didn't they save Silk from Spider Island? Then she became Silk after that. Isn't that when that happened?
No, I think it was more closer to Spider-Verse, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but
I thought when they went in like the safe or whatever the room, Silk was in there and she was all before she became Silk.
No, because Spider Island was before Superior, and Silk was introduced after Superior. But yeah, he wants to do Spider Island because he's a big Spider-Man fan himself. But yeah, I think that it's very fucked off that they doing this. That Shang-Chi is the one to fall on the proverbial sword. Yeah. Now, just a silver lining. Candyman recently came out. Shout outs to Nia DeCoates, the director.
Getting some good reviews.
Getting good reviews, and it's #1 at the box office, and is being touted alongside the same way that they were touting Fast 9 and Black Widow as one of the few pandemic-proof films that are making a sizable amount at the box office, despite it being that. So there is hope. If there's an I hate to say this because I don't want to sound like I'm telling y'all to risk y'all life if y'all don't want to, but if there's one movie I want to have, like legitimately want to have that same type of success as Shang-Chi, because I don't know. I haven't made the decision yet. I got my V card. I'm fully vaccinated. I know I'll need a booster shot inevitably in the next couple of months because of the Delta. But if there was one movie I would risk going to the theaters to see just to support it, because we need to continue that streak of superhero films that have a distinct cultural aesthetic to it. You know, Black Panther, Shang-Chi, all of these films, which pisses me off that Blue Beetle is going to be HBO Max exclusive and not.
Hey, shout out my boy who played Miguel in Cobra Kai is Blue Beetle, and he's going to be in the Peacemaker show.
I will. Peacemaker, I don't know, but I do wish they would have made Blue Beetle theatrical release, which it won't, because we need to support Jaime in the theatrical. But I Shang-Chi would be one of the films that I might just say, you know, I'll throw that mask on, keep my distance, and go and pay to see it in the theaters just because I've personally been.
How you gonna eat your nachos?
I might eat beforehand. But yeah, I from everything I've seen. Like, I finally saw that last trailer you was talking about. I liked it. I liked everything.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
I liked everything that I've seen from it, and I've heard some good stuff from folks who normally don't just fall in the pack of the MCU stuff.
Yeah.
So, and there's something I've read about something that happens at the end that I'm like, oh shit. And then okay, let's see what they rocking with that. But
got something to do with A-bomb, abomination.
Nah, but what's your take? What's your take before we wrap on that?
Like I said, Shang-Chi's definitely, these last couple trailers, like especially the bus scene, is really like leaning me towards a little bit more excitement than I originally was. I thought it was going to be very, 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 very cookie cutter, and that could still be the case. But the choreography looked really good. I was impressed. If they keep that same energy, now obviously they're trying to make it superhero-y, so it's not going to be real visceral. I don't think it's going to be a lot of visceral kung fu, like really like breaking arms and you know, that's what I lean a little bit more to.
Batfleck.
Yeah, that's what I kind of lean more to now going forward. Like with John Wick. John Wick sets a pretty high bar for hand-to-hand combat, I should say. But obviously they're going to try to take it back to like old school kung fu movies, kind of sort of like that. But from what I've seen, the choreography is really what I was leaning towards, and it's been kind of giving me a little bit hype. Now, as far as the story, I definitely want to see a harken back to my guy who played the original Mandarin. I want to see them say something about that.
They confirmed that Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley was actually at the premiere, and they confirmed through an interview they did with him that bitch ass Trevor is going to be
Trevor. I'm Trevor, and I'm an actor.
That they do tie that up. They do tie that up in Shang-Chi.
I definitely. And do you think that is going to tie into Iron Man 3 more significantly than we thought?
From what I've read, I'm not going to speak on it any further because that may, depending on the validity of it, it could be very, very significant.
Really?
Yeah.
That the Mandarin maybe was behind more than what we thought to be him.
I mean, but that was implied in the
Ben Kingsley little
the short that there was an act like that. That's like that there was an actual Mandarin and that the 10 Rings was a big deal and whatnot. It just sucks that it took them 8 years to fully capitalize on it.
I'm definitely more hype about it than the Eternals, though.
I mean,
like 100%. And I'm not even like a huge fan of Shang-Chi. Like, I know he's one of the best martial artists in the MCU, in the Marvel universe and all that. But I know I'm more hype about that than the Eternals. Eternals, even with this new trailer with Man of Steel shots and Justice League shots, I'm good.
I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna ever disrespect Chloe Zhao as a director, whether she's doing a Marvel movie or not, because she's that damn good at being a visionary director and whatnot. But I will still maintain that, you know, I'm only paying attention to this movie to see if Aaron Johnson's script is anywhere in it, and that's about it.
But yeah, so Shang-Chi, on your level of hype, where do you sit right now?
I think I'm gonna sit it at a close, a very decisive 8. You know,
really?
Yeah, I really want to get down with this movie because they've akin it to Jackie Chan films. So that if that action if it's like some Jackie Chan action, but cranked up a little bit, that's my jam.
I know we're living in 2021, and maybe some of our viewers might not know OG Jackie Chan. that guy's godlike. Like his choreography.
The choreography, the blend of action and comedy in his stuff is just impeccable. And if you ever, I know obviously Rush Hour springs to mind, if for Jackie Chan for a lot of folks, but
Rumble in the Bronx,
you know what I'm talking about. God dang, it? Police Story.
But that's probably his most iconic that everybody, even in China, like holds up really high. Police Story.
Yes, all of that stuff.
Even some of his more recents, The Foreigner.
Yes.
Oh my, he went crazy. He was shoot. Jackie Chan don't usually shoot guns. That trick was shooting guns.
Yeah,
he was going crazy.
Even stuff like the medallion and the tuxedo. I know a lot of people sleep on that, but obviously those continue. Like Jackie Chan is a legend for
just to bring up, and this might be one of his weaker movies, but the comedy mixed with martial arts, Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights.
Oh hell no, I'm not gonna sleep on Shanghai.
But I know a lot of people would say those were some of his weaker because Owen Wilson, the cheesy slapstick. But
I remember a lot of people liking those.
But it was just really to bring your point of the comedic with the choreography of the action. Really mailed it well in that movie.
I thought you were going to say something like Around the World in 80 Days. Like
that is well. That was one of his. Now that one was pretty bad.
I think I'm going to see that movie.
But Shanghai Noon did good enough to get Shanghai Nights right.
I mean, I just unless my child brain is failing me, we'll do the outro. I distinctively remember Shanghai Nights being number one, and people considering it a follow up. I'll IMDb it or Google it later.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But yeah, so Shang-Chi, we're rooting for you.
Yeah.
We're rooting for you. So we don't want to just say we hate the movie or nothing like that. We're rooting for you to do good. Are you rooting for it because of no, not even that. Do you think because Marvel's definitely lately, they have not been doing no minor movies. Everything has had something to do with the grander scheme of things. Do you think Shang-Chi is going to fall in the suit and have some grander plan moving forward?
Again, if I speak any further on some things that I've read, there'll be significant spoilers. If you want to ask me once the show's over with, I can give you an answer. But for the folks watching, I'm sorry, y'all don't have to wait until opening weekend to see if folks talking spoiler heavy.
Facts. And with that being said, we're gonna get on up out of here. This was a great episode. We didn't even get to talk first before we get on. We got about 5 minutes. The Cowboy Bebop photo shots.
I like it.
You like it?
I like it. I think Mike, he's my litmus for Cowboy Bebop stuff because he watched it recently and he liked it. I think that I think that let's just be honest with ourselves. This could have gone either one of two ways. It could have gone Dragon Ball Evolution, or it could have gone The Last Airbender. And if you noticed, both of them are terrible.
Yes,
but there are
that's true.
But there are levels to the terribleness.
Dragon Ball Evolution is,
but we can agree that The Last Airbender is more terrible than Dragon Ball Evolution. I mean, because let me put it to you like this: this Dragon Ball shirt is from something that came out after the movie.
That's true.
Legend of Korra got shoved to Nickelodeon.com.
But the Legend of Korra
but let's just remember what that film ended up doing to The Last Air.
Yeah.
As the franchise until Netflix picked it up. But what I'm getting at is that Cowboy Bebop looks aesthetic. Like it might not be a 1-to-1, which nothing has to be 1-to-1, y'all.
I gotta see my guy play Spike. I gotta hear him talk as Spike.
I mean, Steven. No, that's not Steven.
No, that's Glenn. You talking about my guy from Harold and Kumar? I forgot his name.
Yes. Please forgive me for almost. I don't know. No, I'll tell you why I'm saying Steven Yeun, because he was originally tapped to play Spike.
He's my boy,
and
Mark Grayson,
and he ended up playing Invincible. That's why I keep getting Steven Yeun. It's not because all Asians look like it's never that.
Hold on,
it's
hold on, my fault. I gotta get you did that.
It's not that. It's not that at all. It's because I unless I'm Mandela affecting, Steven Yeun's name was attached to Cowboy Bebop very early on, and I keep associating because Steven Yeun is my guy.
Bro, somebody gonna clip you saying that.
Yeah. Nah,
all Asians don't look alike.
I don't think my MD haters. I mean, my MD fans watch.
Facts.
So. But yeah. We can go ahead and
well, yeah. So I me personally, I gotta hear Spike.
I feels you
because he does, and this is something that I really want to touch on because we have had conversations about this. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. in Cowboy Bebop, Spike is a white character. Let me know if I'm wrong.
No, he's Asian.
He's Asian.
Yes, it's just that Steve Blum is a white guy, but he's if he's at the very least, because anime is very either you're Asian or you're coded,
except Full Metal.
Except for Full Metal Alchemist. Either you're Asian or you're coded to be Asian. And if I'm not mistaken, Spike Spiegel is coded. If he's not, because I really haven't watched Cowboy Bebop all the way through, but he's either coded to be Asian or he is Asian. So,
well, and I'm not taking anything from the actor who's playing Spike. I just feel I don't know. I have to see him act because I personally thought Spike was white. And I didn't think that it would have been a problem if they did. I don't know if they were trying to not go down that same route of Avatar, like you said, where they made these characters white when they were aesthetically and culturally different characters. But my understanding,
that's for a little educational thing. If they don't identify the race, but the culture they use is influenced by a culture, then that means that they are, or if they have features of, in like if they're alien, but they have features of a Asian or a black person, that means they are coded based off of the race. One of the famous examples is when Marv Wolfman and George Perez created Starfire. She was modeled after Naomi Campbell. She is, most people don't know this because the cartoon, she's coded as a ditzy European white girl, but Starfire is originally coded after a black woman. She's meant, her feature wise is meant, and even her personality is coded after a black woman because, she's an alien. And things like Avatar, things like Dragon Ball, things like Cowboy Bebop, even though they're not explicitly Asian, Native American, et cetera, their cultures are coding them in a way that's what, if they do a live action, that's who needs to play them.
And I agree with that to a certain extent. With one of my biggest examples of that is I felt like it hurt the Full Metal movie.
Yeah, that's undeniable because I think that I almost want to say that was kind of done tongue-in-cheekly in a wrong way because obviously Al and El
are European.
They're obviously European. I get why. And this is like, again, it's either tongue-in-cheek or it's because so many people had backlash against Dragon Ball Evolution and The Last Airbender, respectively, that they felt like that was the case, that they had to be, they had to be Asian. But it didn't work because, when you're literally like German names and stuff like that, not saying that Asian people who grew up in Germany can't have that, but
definitely
from the story that Full Metal Alchemist tells, it works. When you realize that there are two German white kids in this fictional alternate reality, and then how that all plays out. Same thing with, this might sound controversial, but I think Death Note works with a white guy, a white kid having a book that can kill his enemies. I think that is more culturally sound because these white dudes be crazy and be doing shit like that. But I feel you on that.
Yeah, but with that being said, we just really hope. I really hope that this show does well. I'm not gonna the design, the guy who's playing Spike, I'm not sure. Hopefully, and Cowboy Bebop is a very, very different anime than what we get now, even from Dragon Ball. It's more story based. It's not every episode ain't just straight shooting action.
Yes,
a lot of episodes deal with the trauma and stuff that they've went through, and so if you think you're going to go in this and get every episode John Wick, that's not what you're going to be getting.
But I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think every Cowboy Bebop fan knows that, so that's not their problem. It's more so how much are they going to, like,
those new viewers though,
like. But then again, like that's kind of But I think they're more concerned about if the spirit of those characters are accurate.
Definitely. And the spirit of those characters is the biggest part of Cowboy Bebop. These characters were so iconic, so influential. Like you can't half-ass these characters or give us watered down. Like, you have to give these characters in their full. Like, we have to feel every emotion that we felt in the anime.
Yes.
And so hopefully Cowboy Bebop does good. Hopefully Shang Chi does well. Spider-Man, we were ready for you. But with that being said, Thank y'all for tuning in. This was Into the QUNIVERSE. I'm Q.
And I am QMG.
And
thank you for watching Keep It G Diversity Season 2. We appreciate y'all for tuning in.
Facts. You already know how we do. GQ Smooth, always on our P's and our Q's. And you already know we rock it. We always put baloney in our left pocket. Yes, this was Into the QUNIVERSE. Another great episode. Spider-Man took up all our time, but it don't matter. We let that beat ride. Great episode. Thank y'all for tuning in. We won't be back this Sunday because it's the first Sunday of the month, but we'll be back the following Sunday. So y'all be ready because we'll be back. We're going to talk about the Gamescom games that we didn't get to talk about, and we're going to be talking about some more. So
we're going to be talking about not letting your nephew spend $70 on Fortnite.
So so before we sign out, are we going to both do the Orange Justice real quick? Let's go. Let's go. Peace. Shout out.